You just gotta wonder. What kind of method acting did Jared Leto do for this movie? So I gotta get these 2 reviews done with so quickly that not only did I cram in the same video, not only are they gonna be short as hell, but I'm also not wearing any pants. Just be glad you're seeing the top half of me right now. Haunted Mansion is Disney's second attempt at making the popular theme park attraction into a major motion picture, and this time around with a pretty packed cast, including Lakeith Stanfield, Rosario Dawson, Owen Wilson, Tiffany Haddish, Dan DeVito, Jamie Lee Curtis, Daniel Levy, and as I said before, Jared Leto. And the film is about a mother and son who find out that their newly bought mansion is haunted, so they call upon a tour guide, a psychic, a priest, and a historian professor to help exorcise the ghosts. At one point as a kid, I of course rode the ride at Disney World, and I did watch the original Haunted Mansion starring Eddie Murphy. And it's honestly been so long since I've seen it that I really couldn't tell you much about it. But I do remember not getting into it that much. I don't remember if it was all that okay or all that bad, but I've heard a lot of people say it isn't that good. But clearly the one major problem with the original was having the word "the" in the title. It was just cramming its style. That's why this newest one's called Haunted Mansion, not The Haunted Mansion. But anyway, what did I think of the Haunted Mansion reboot? I liked it fine. Glad I saw it once. Don't really need to see it again. It's kind of generic. Okay, I'll start with the positives. All the actors do a great job here. The standout for me being Lakeith Stanfield as our lead, who's a widowing tour guide, and he does a great job at depicting a person with a lot of grief. And the movie does it in a good way to show kids that it is okay to grieve if you've lost a loved one of some sort recently. And it is a good thing for kids to see in a movie like this, because they might not be expecting it. And it was also great to see Danny DeVito in something besides It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And Owen Wilson was pretty good as the priest, but now I really want to see a crossover between Owen Wilson priest and Russell Crowe priest from Pope's Exorcist. I don't think you can top Pirates of the Caribbean when it comes to Disney theme park movies, but this movie is still pretty fun and much better than the Eddie Murphy movie. I also did think that this is a great gateway horror movie for kids, but kids around 10 years old or older, because I think some younger kids might be terrified by this. But to basically get an understanding of what I'm trying to say when I say some kids might be terrified by this, is that 2 gateway horror movies for me were both Gremlins and Coraline. But nowadays, we really don't get movies like those anymore that would be PG rated. And yes, I am fully aware that Haunted Mansion is rated PG-13 for some reason. I really don't know why. But kids these days wouldn't be used to stuff like that because so many other kids' movies play it too safe. Man, I sounded really old saying that. Back in my day, there was this cartoon called Regular Show, and it was this adult cartoon in the disguise of a kid's cartoon. It was awesome! As for issues though, and I'm really just gonna fly through these. I don't think this movie really adds anything new to this genre that we haven't seen before. I mean, hell, it's technically not even the second time that Disney did a Haunted Mansion movie. Remember that Muppet one they did on Disney Plus? Neither do I. The CGI isn't the greatest, but like I said, you don't want to make it too scary for kids, so you gotta make it a little cartoony looking. But definitely the worst was the CGI Jamie Lee Curtis head. There's this whole thing about how they can't leave the mansion after they first enter because they then get haunted by a ghost, but then there's numerous times that they do leave. I guess the ghost just forgot to follow them at that point. I also think this would have worked much better if it came out in October during Halloween. It actually did feel a little weird to be watching this in July. I don't think it would have made the movie any better, but I think it would have made the experience a lot better. In the end, this new Haunted Mansion is an enjoyable fun time for the entire family. If you have kids, I recommend checking this one out. But if you don't, this movie is fine for a one-time viewing, but you really don't need to rush out to theaters to see it. I'm gonna give Haunted Mansion a B-. By the way, it's kind of ironic that this is one of the movies I'm having to review right before I go out of town, because just guess where I'm going.
I'm still mad at you.
But another movie being released this weekend is the new A24 horror film Talk to Me, which I actually saw a couple weeks ago when it was Regal's Monday Mystery Movie. Which, yeah, thought it was pretty weird they decided to pick this as the Monday Mystery Movie. I mean, yeah, after they did their first animated movie, I knew it was inevitable that they did their first horror film, but I didn't think it would be an A24 horror film. But what Talk to Me is it's a psychological horror thriller about a group of teens who get their hands on, well, a spooky embalmed hand that can conjure spirits. They eventually become hooked on the new thrill until one of them goes too far with it and unleashes terrifying supernatural forces. And at first glance, you might think this is going to be A24's attempt at making a Blumhouse-like horror film, but that's not even close to what the movie is like, and it took me a little bit afterwards to think about what I thought of it, and it doesn't take long for you to get very wrapped up in the plot. It starts off with this really damn good one-shot take opening where this guy gets possessed and stabs himself in the face, and we have no context to this yet at all, and I'm just like, okay, I'm in. Where's this going? And where are all those other people going? Hey, the movie just started, where are you going? Actually, surprisingly, nobody left the screening. Okay, one person left. Yeah, it's kind of weird that nobody left the horror movie, but a lot of people left Sisu. Wusses. I loved how these teens, besides our lead, knew full well what was going on with this freaky hand and the possessions, and they basically make an internet challenge out of it, and this does get pretty damn freaky throughout. There were a few points where I actually did jump, but it could have been a mix of my foot being up against the seat in front of me that someone was sitting in, and it was loud. Hell, it was so damn loud that there's one part where two characters start pillow fighting, and those pillows sound like they're full of cinder blocks. Ow! But every time they mess with this embalmed hand, everyone has a different experience with what happens to them, and as the movie goes on, you start to feel a little unpleasant, and it does get under your skin, and I never knew where it was going. And dude, there's one scene where this kid gets it so bad that his face is completely fucked up through a good majority of the movie. But I thought this was another home run for A24, and a great start for these two new directors. I highly recommend checking this one out if you're a diehard horror fan. I'm gonna give Talk to Me, Goose, an A-. And you want to know one thing I've realized that's really damn great about these Monday mystery movies? I don't have to review them immediately, but then sometimes I do because I'm like, yeah, what the fuck happened in that movie? Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, turn on the notification bell, and I'll be back with more reviews very soon. See you then.